Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special replay of
Legends Only.
My name is T. Kyle.
And I'm Brad.
And this is your weekly pop culture podcast where this week we don't talk about anything new because I'm at a wedding, but we still talk about
Legends Only.
Yeah, everyone, I am away this weekend, so Dua will be radically optimizing.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I will have to delay my listening of that radical optimization until I return from the wedding festivities that I will be attending to.
Yes, and I will be wrangling that shark while you're gone in the Discord, I'm assuming, and we'll be discussing there and formalizing our thoughts so that by the time you come back, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
And preparing for Billy as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Hitting me hard and soft.
Oh. Oh.
That album title's yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with it. But
Smack me. Anyway.
God. Okay, so this week's replay is honestly tea. The tea is kind of cold at this point. This is the after show where I revealed to Brad and all of our Patreon supporters that in early 2023, I was hired to produce the Wendy Williams comeback podcast.
Yeah.
And I revealed it to Brad and our Patreon supporters like 3 days after my NDA was up. And now months later, I feel more comfortable with more people knowing about it because it's easier to talk about now than it was at the time because it was actually really upsetting and emotional for me to talk about. And you guys know I love her anyway. But for all of our supporters over on patreon.com/legendsonly, we finally have our long-awaited album swap episode.
Yes. And I'm thrilled to announce that T. Kyle has listened to Girls Aloud, a full album for the first time.
Yeah.
Chemistry. So if you're Aloud curious, or if you're already in Alouder and you want to know what T. Kyle thinks of Girls Aloud.
And you were surprised.
I was surprised by your analysis.
Opinions.
Absolutely. The whole way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have not gotten enough of this voice, I am the guest on the Pop Pantheon podcast this week, deep diving into Hilary Duff. So now we both have an episode. Brad did Kelly Clarkson. I did Hilary Duff. Shout out to the Pop Pantheon podcast. That is available on all streaming platforms. And yeah, we will be back next week with a brand new episode here, a brand new episode on Patreon. So to all of our supporters over on Patreon, thank you for your continued support. We have that bonus episode for you. Every week that we miss a main episode, we are doing our best to make sure that you guys are fed. And yeah, here is the story about how I was hired to produce the Wendy Williams comeback podcast. All right, well, baby, this is what you came for. So I have some tea that I'm going to be sharing with you guys here on the after show. I don't know if I'm going to post anything about this anywhere else yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'll take your advice if I should post it anywhere.
What's my advice?
Outside of here.
Oh.
So the Wendy Williams documentary is airing over this weekend. I'm sure people are going to be watching it and talking about it in Discord. We all know how I feel about Wendy's, like one of my biggest inspirations ever. I mean, duh, hello. So I will be exclusively revealing here on this after show that I was hired to produce and concept the Wendy Williams podcast return, the Wendy Williams podcast, like the one that everyone's been talking about online, joking about online. I have been dead silent for a year and a half now. So I filmed for the documentary. Surprise!
This is a lot.
She's kept this locked. I filmed for the documentary. I have been told that I was cut out and that the podcast was cut out of the doc.
Oh.
Entirely. And I will learn the story with all of you.
Mm-hmm.
I was really kept in the dark with like what was happening because I was told that I guess you see her situation, whatever it is that she's physically, well, she just revealed
Yeah.
the dementia and aphasia.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently you see all of this happening throughout the documentary, and the podcast was a part of the doc. So I will be learning more with the rest of the audience because I guess
Did you record with her?
no.
Okay.
So this is what happened. So I was hired, and then I filmed with her manager
Mm-hmm.
the pitch. So I concepted like a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually like great. I did the graphics. I designed a logo. I made a color scheme. I animated what would have been the reel that announced that the podcast is coming.
Uh-huh.
That was a call for like hot topics. Like it was basically like, you missed me. What are we catching up on? So that we would have things to talk about in the pilot because it was going to be more evergreen style.
Yeah.
So I sat down, I filmed with her manager. It's on camera, it's all scrapped, I believe. Yeah, and so then what happened was when I went to go film and do the pitch, she had left and gone to LA,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a blow up fight. So I'm going to literally see what happened with you guys in the doc because all I know is that I was sitting at this table, the phone rang, it was Wendy, and there was like a argument that had ensued, but then they took me and they put me on ice, which is what they call in reality TV, where they like, you are gone and you don't know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I was then put on ice, no idea what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I will find out if this scene is even included.
Yeah.
Apparently, like this is when she went to LA and was like paparazzi'd in LA. So I'm like learning all of the stuff that's happening through like paparazzi and tweets and TikToks.
Yeah.
So that happened. I had a second meeting where we got into like specifics. And then all of this time went by and I got a call and it was essentially short and sweet. Just she's not able to do this right now and she needs to go away to take care of some things. And we're calling off the podcast. And I was like, say no more. Obviously, hope that she's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Watching the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea.
Yeah.
It was so upsetting when because I knew something was like up.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was obviously like in videos on TikTok. And then the report came out like, oh, she's in a facility. And I was like just heartbroken by it, because it was like I wanted so much to help her have that moment and that triumphant comeback. And so,
yeah. And then effectively, I guess the production took a different direction based on where her life was going. Like it was the documentary was supposed to be about this podcast, right?
Yeah. So when I was brought on,
yeah,
this is her comeback.
Yeah.
She's executive producing. This is her idea. She wants the end of this documentary to be her triumphant return, which is the podcast.
Okay.
That was like the starting. And then I feel like it was probably like 3 months maybe that went by. And they were like, this is taking a very different turn. And yeah.
So, wow. So I now that everything has come out, like, does anything from your experience jump out as far as like, I know there's a lot of questions about who's around her and stuff. Like,
yeah. Well, for me, it was like we had the initial meeting and I'm a fan of Wendy. Like I watch Norman. Like these are the people that I study. I pitched an idea that was a weekly topical. And then I also pitched a kind of like the Britney podcast, like something that was evergreen, which that concept I fucking love. And it would have been so cool. Yeah. So once we did that, I was like, okay, well, next steps would be to get in a room with her and just like talk and figure out like what's her goal with this. And that meeting was like not happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like, we can't just like book a studio and I mean, we could, we could wing it, but like we shouldn't wing it.
Right. You'd have to plan with her.
Right. And then that's when I started to think like something feels off, like something in my gut was off. And I was just like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. But now we know through her statement this week, like what was going on.
Wow.
It also just feels like a lifetime. Well, not pun intended. It's over a year ago that I was in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And
you shot one day?
I shot one day.
Yeah.
I was on camera one day, and then there was a secondary, like, off camera meeting about, like, I pitched a set idea and furniture and like what color we would use, and I scripted. I feel like I can probably share this part. The teaser, like the announcement video. I feel like I can say it. Okay, I can reveal my script for what the teaser would have been. So when we first started, a note that I got was Wendy is done with TV. It's all about podcasting, right?
Got it.
The podcast is the new thing. Emphasis on the podcast. And she wanted to get rid of, like, not get rid of it, but not use the iconic Wendy chair that is so notoriously known on the TV show. And I'm like, that's great. That makes sense because that chair is like her Joanne hat. It's like TV show. Let's make something new. So my script for the teaser was going to be the camera comes on. It's the chair, like the iconic chair. And you hear her say, "Get that thing out of here. I'm starting over." And she walks into frame, picks up the chair, drags it out. Boom. Podcast premiere date would be there. That would have been.
Oh, I love that.
At least that's what I pitched.
Yeah.
And they did love it.
Yeah.
And they loved the idea. And yeah, then it would be like a clipboard smacking and it would say like the Wendy experience. And it would come back and she'd be sitting at a new table in the new set with the microphone.
Yeah.
That was going to be.
That's a really good idea. It's a really good idea.
It's bringing back so many memories.
But throughout all of this,
mood boards.
Mood boards.
Oh, yeah. I'm showing Brad, but I have photos from the set.
Yeah.
Me with my elf powder on.
But throughout all of this, no actual interaction with Wendy.
We never got to meet.
I'm sure that added to the bad feelings about all of it and why you were,
Because I was just in the dark.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, oh, a year and a half later.
Yeah.
There was clearly something that was going on with her health that, I went in and I told him, I'm like, listen, this is like my biggest inspiration in the same way that Andy was. Like, I'm here to work and I'm here to deliver the best comeback ever for her. That's it.
Did you have any engagement with family or was it all her management or?
I interacted with the documentary team.
Okay.
And then the manager.
And he was the one telling you that it took a turn and everything, or that's
no, the documentary team was like, "Hey, we're not."
Did the manager say anything about this?
No, not really. Yeah, I'm gonna learn.
Yeah,
I'm very curious to see like what is included and what's not included.
Yeah,
in the doc because I do remember when the Pop Crave tweet went out. That was like the Wendy Williams podcast is canceled.
Yeah, I
got a panic phone call from the documentary team that was like, there's a tweet that's out from Pop Crave that says the podcast is canceled. It's not canceled. We don't know. We think that something just happened. And I was like, oh, that was news to me. It wasn't until later that it was like actually called off. But I don't know like what was happening in their universe. That news came and hit the internets.
Yeah.
Like it was like TMZ or something was like, the Wendy Williams podcast is officially canceled. And I was like, I'm still working on like getting a studio. What do you mean it's canceled? But
wow.
Yeah.
How did it all begin? Was there a call out for producers?
One of my friends that I worked with over a decade ago, he was on the documentary team. And so my name was thrown into the ring.
Yeah.
And they chose me. Like I went in and I said, I am the best person for this job. There is no one better. Like, I know that I'm the best person because not only can I produce this, I know everything that will be a moment and a clip and a soundbite and a social media clip. Like, there is no one better.
Yeah.
There's just not.
It's true.
So.
Oh, it's extremely depressing.
Yeah.
It's hard to even, think of things to talk about yet because we haven't seen the doc. But obviously, I mean, now knowing your involvement but not involvement, now it's even more interesting to see what is portrayed in this documentary.
Yeah.
Because I think the log line for this doc is like, while preparing to make a comeback with a podcast, things take a turn. Like there's some sort of, it acknowledges the podcast in the description.
Yeah.
So.
And I did watch her niece's interviews where they
Yes.
said that, like, because she said, like, when she first started filming, the niece said, like, she noticed with Wendy that something felt off, that she wasn't as sharp as, because she, you know, obviously we all know Wendy is like sharp, witty, funny, on the fly, live TV. And she said, like, when they first started rolling cameras, she noticed something. And so, yeah.
Yeah, so that's, and then basically just no contact after they were like, this is going in a different direction, or you pulled out, or they were like, no, that we can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Ended. Contact ended.
Yeah.
Texting, no reason to text anymore.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm sure people are going to have a lot of questions, especially after this airs. But I know how much you care about her, and I know obviously this was like the dream job. Would have been
this. Yeah. I mean, it was so long ago that it feels like it wasn't even real.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's really heartbreaking. And then, I mean, obviously right now it's a mess with things coming out like in the moment of like The Guardian suing the production and the family not having contact with her, which feels off too. I don't know.
We do see her with the family in the trailer. So I'm like going to be learning the story with everyone else. Like, I'm very curious to see if there's like even a mention of like the podcast in the doc.
Yeah. I think there must be, but maybe not. We'll find out. This is big and devastating. Obviously, she's a big fixture on the pod as well. We are constantly referencing her. So, unfortunately,
I know
we will have to see what comes out of this documentary, and I guess the subsequent legal battles now.
It's just heartbreaking. Like, it's so heartbreaking.
It is.
I really don't know. I know this is like a fun show and like we're here, but
yeah, I don't know. This system seems really fucked. It's like now this is yet another conservatorship case that seems to be going left. There's something weird happening here for sure, but I feel terrible all around. I mean, there's a lot of uncomfortable, sad revelations happening right now and questions popping up, of course. I do think a lot of eyes will be on this. I don't know. And I'm heartbroken for you that you had a really good plan for her comeback, which would have been really cool, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I was honored to even like be
it's awesome.
Hired and get the job. Like, it's still it feels weird for me to even say it to like all of you that like it actually, because I remember in the one meeting I took out Instagram and I pulled up the Wendy experience and I showed my DM from like their first, you know, this is probably like 2 years ago at this point, and they responded, and I'm like, that was me. I pitched myself to you guys the second you announced this. I was like, hi, me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
well, hopefully we can get some clarity on the situation.
Yeah, and I just hope that she's safe.
I wish you did. I mean, I do and I don't wish you got that interaction, because I do, obviously, because that's like your idol, but I don't in case if it was bad, that probably would have been really heartbreaking to see in person.
Yeah.
So maybe.
I remember when I met her at Fallon.
Yeah.
Her stylist DM'd me and was like, by the way, she really loved talking to you.
Oh.
And he was like, she doesn't normally, like, obviously she meets a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he was like, she really liked you a lot. And so in my mind, thinking about that interaction, because I was like hyping her up. I was like, you are like, you know, not just kissing the ring, but like kind of kissing the crown, if you will, when I met her. And she was so hyped by it. And she was just like, huge smile on her face. And I'm like, if I could just meet with her and like give her that same love. And yeah. So that's the tea, everybody. I think that I did not lie when I said this is the hottest tea ever.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously, were you like NDA'd up the ass? Like,
or no, not up the ass. it was one of those things because they were filming for the doc. So
Yeah,
they
you
just
couldn't
said,
say anything.
they said once it's out, you're free to talk.
Oh,
Is essentially
interesting.
the
Yeah.
which is usually the case for most. Like if you're working on someone's logo,
Mm-hmm.
once the logo is out on an album cover and it's been seen by the public,
Mm-hmm.
you can post it on your portfolio and say, I designed that.
Yep.
So now that the doc is out,
Yeah, you were free to talk
I'm
about
free
it.
to say,
Got
like,
it.
hey, I
Yeah.
filmed.
Well, I'm assuming that people might have more questions. Maybe if you're open to it, maybe they can drop questions if you feel open to answering on Patreon, or I don't know, maybe even a special live chat or something when you feel ready to. Because
Yeah.
I feel like
the doc needs to play out.
yeah,
Because like you said, there was something recently with like someone tried to stop the doc from even airing.
the Guardian, her Guardian.
Which, like, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
We'll find out in the doc, I guess.
It's they posted it. It's since gone public. It's some conservator Guardian person, but yeah, I don't know. It's feeling weird. It's definitely feeling weird again.
Yeah.
So, well,
all right. No, I'm kidding.
a reference. A reference.
I know. I'm like looking. I haven't looked at this PDF in like over a year, and yeah, I mean, I guess I could tell you guys. So we were dropping hot topics. They wanted a new segment title. I can also tell you guys too, at one point there was a conversation about me being on the pod with her as a Norman.
A Norman.
And I was like, those are some huge shoes to fill. But I was like, it was like a blip of like, would you be interested in like being on camera and feeding her the topics and going back and forth with her? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Absolutely. We would have a field day. So that was a little blip at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like, Wendy, what's going on? What's going on, Wendy? Was like the top, my top pick for, like weekly polls on Instagram. And yeah. And there's so much. I'm like, I designed mugs, I designed pillows. We have a brand guideline here. Thank you for watching and listening is the outro.
Mm-hmm.
I love her, and that will never change. And yeah, I'm literally that meme of her where like she's about to start crying and she's like, next. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to leave you with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to France now and I'm going to go have a midlife crisis.
Okay. Well, I think, on the positive side, I mean, I don't know where the Wendy story is shaking out currently, but it is a reflection on you that your name was not only tossed around, but selected, and it's not a surprise. And I think you should still be very proud of it. And, at the end of the day, the project did not pan out, but you had the ideas that they were really excited by. And I'm sure she would have been excited by it too. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know where she was in the process of everything, but it's still a huge, validation, I think, that they saw the vision too. So
life could be worse. No, this is the worst. I know what I will say on a positive note.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Z did recently find the Wendy Big Ange interview.
Yeah.
And they put the whole segment on TikTok. And I did watch that the other night and just smiled and like cackled and giggled. And it just, there's a new YouTube channel that is putting up all the old hot topics.
Mm-hmm.
They actually just put out a statement on like the YouTube community notes that were like, we don't know how to, like, what to do with this channel. Like, and they are really going through it. And all the comments underneath were just like so supportive. And we're like, no, this is the best way to honor her legacy and to keep her work out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is on YouTube. They do a really good job. They post like a new hot topic every few days. So yeah. And that's how I found like she's an icon, but she's not someone you think about all the time.
Yeah.
Clip was from an old Hot Topics.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. That's all for this week.
Okay. Well,
nervous to see what everyone says on Discord.
Oh, I don't think you should be nervous. I don't know. I think this was
I've kept the secret for so long.
Yeah, you really have.
It's been so long. anytime like I hit a button, anytime I post a meme, I'm like,
Well,
I'll never tell until now. So that is the tea for the after show, everybody.
mhm.
And yeah, I don't think I lied.
Discuss amongst yourselves, I guess, on the Discord because you'll be in France.
I feel like they're going to be shocked.
Oh, it's very
I feel
shocking.
shocked even saying it. When I'm
is.
like, oh my God, I have to tell Brad something that
I
I've been
know.
hiding for.
Jesus.
You're like, oh God.
Yeah.
What now?
Well, I can say, as shocking as it is, it's not surprising. It's as I just said, like very. It makes perfect sense that you would be the guy for it. So, in that sense, it's not surprising. Well, I hope that you can decompress and enjoy your getaway, and we will see how this pans out and keep it moving.
Yeah, I'm excited. When you got back from Miami and you were like, sometimes all it takes is a change of scene. And I'm like, that's
It's
the
crucial.
goal.
Yes, you will be regenerated.
Because like every day is like
rejuvenated.
Groundhog Day. It's kind of my problem that I have right now. It's
Yeah.
like,
And that's very bad for you mentally.
oh, it is horrible for me mentally.
Yeah.
So why not wake up every day in a different country and explore?
It'll be a new adventure for you.
Yeah. That's where I thrive too. With something new.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Something optimistic to leave off on.
yeah. Prayer circle for the foot, everybody.
Yeah. It'll hold tight.
Well, we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll pop into the Discord
Definitely.
while I'm there. I think Discord works overseas.
Mhm.
I'll be on Minos time, I think.
Time. That is an official
Yeah.
time.
I always feel bad when he pops in the
Time
live
zone.
chat since like 3 a.m.
I know.
So I'm going to be on Minos time over in London. I'll just be a hop skip over the river away.
Oh my God.
And yeah, until March.
Until then, we'll have much to discuss.
Oh, we will. Eternal sunshine when we get back.
Yep. That's right.
And until then,
We will.
see you.
Soon.
What a fucking start to the year already.
Oh, yeah.
What are we getting ourselves into, girls?